Hey, what's up YouTube? So thank you for tuning in. This is going to be a detailed video series on how to build an ADU in California, or more specifically Oakland, California, which is where we are. And hopefully this is going to build on the incredible content that's already out there that helped me along the way in the ADU journey. But it's going to be very detailed, including a full cost breakdown of every single step that we went through. And we went from this, a rat-infested detached garage on two property lines of the lot, to what you can see behind me, which is a brand new 620 square foot detached ADU, one bedroom, one bathroom, with higher end finishes, things like skylights you can see above me, the quartzite countertop that I'm sitting on, working on here, the marble tiling in the bathroom, and the engineered hardwood flooring. And the bifold you can see behind me. We've got a nice big French door to the right as well. So I'm going to walk through all of the steps that we went through to get this thing built. And I'm going to include that cost breakdown that has everything from the soft costs, including the permit, the survey costs, the demolition permit, all of that stuff, the inspections, through to the subs that I used and how much those cost, and all of the materials that I used. And so I did this as a owner builder. This is essentially where you act as the general contractor for the project. You can do that if you own the property. And, you can save a lot of money doing that. People estimate 20-30% of the total project cost that you can save. And I definitely say that was the case here. But with it comes some challenges, of course. You have to manage the process. You have to be on top of everything. You have to hire the subcontractors. You have to really get into the details and make sure everything's being done to the plan, or potentially anticipating issues that might come up. And when they do, identifying those and calling people out or asking for them to be remediated, or even doing it yourself. And then just keeping the job site tidy, keeping the materials flowing in at the right time, and making sure that everyone's sort of lined up and scheduled to keep things moving. And of course the inspections, which is another thing that I had to deal with personally, both city inspections, special inspections, public works inspections, and PG&E, coordinating the whole service upgrade. So I'm going to go into a lot of detail on all of those aspects in this video series. So this ADU took just over 2 years from start to finish. And that sounds like a really long time, but the majority of that time was getting the permits from the city. And for whatever reason, there was a cyber attack and also COVID. Every step along that process, from zoning to getting the building permit, took a really long time. And I wasn't actively following up on things because we weren't in a massive rush. So that took 18 months. The construction of the ADU took about 6 months, from breaking ground, from actually demolishing the previous structure, to doing the foundation and sort of the framing, and all the way through to final inspection. And then there were a few things that took a little bit longer, like the PG&E service upgrade. That actually started in February, with sort of filing the permit and the process with PG&E, to actually carrying out the work in November. So I'm going to walk through every single step of that process, and hopefully this will be really helpful to a lot of you out there who are considering going through the same thing, or maybe even in the thick of it. So as I know, a lot of you will be interested in the costs of this project. So I'm just going to skip ahead and give you the high-level overview before you can dive into more of the details. So this project cost about $250,000 all in. That includes the soft costs, the hard costs, the inspections, the service upgrade, the driveway and patio, the French drains, the ground prep, all of the finishes, including the appliances, including things like this TV, which is, I think, was $2,000. So it may not be the cost that you would typically get included in a bid. In fact, you almost certainly wouldn't get things like the TV, and possibly not a lot of the finishes. And then, of course, the French drains and the patio and the driveway, that's stuff that sort of isn't really part of the ADU, but it's part of the broader property. So $250K was the overall cost. If I break out some of those other things, We're closer to about 230,000 for the ADU itself. Some of the labor was a little bit difficult to split out on some of the stuff that contributed to the main property, like the French drains and the driveway. So it may be a little bit less, may even be closer to 200 just for the ADU itself with the finishes. But all of this is going to be in the spreadsheet, including the finishes that I used. So you can take those out and you can just really get a feel for the overall costs and the costs of all the different components. 250K works out to $400 per square foot, and about 230K works out to close to $350 per square foot, which I think is realistic. You know, in a lot of these Facebook groups, you hear people saying $250 per square foot, even less in some cases. But, you know, there's a question as to what actually is included and if there are going to be additional upcharges, change orders along the way. So I think 350 for what I did as an owner builder is pretty realistic. This project also had some things that weren't anticipated, like the ground prep that needed to be done because the neighbor's lot is actually higher than ours. So we had to build up the pad a little bit and do a little bit more groundwork than we anticipated. This ADU, because it also sits on two property lines, and because our plans called for it, we actually put up CMU block walls on those two property lines for extra durability and fireproofing. So that in itself was, I want to say, at least $10,000 just for that work. So that's a cost that most ADUs would not have if they're not on a property line like this one. So that's where we are in the costs. I'm going to have a very full comprehensive breakdown in the spreadsheet that's going to be attached to this video series. So have a look there, and if you have any questions about it, feel free to leave a comment or a question in the comments, and I'll get back to you. So the last thing I wanted to say before we get into a lot of the details and the content here is just a thank you to some of the people that helped along the way. And if you're watching this video on YouTube, you probably come across some of these people already. But Derek Sherrill, that ADU guy, he provided a consult with me very early on in the process that was incredibly helpful. And his content is really the best out there. Ryan O'Connell, who runs the How to ADU Facebook group, he's been an incredible help, and that Facebook group has been amazing. Definitely recommend you join if you're not already a member. Taylor, who's local here in Oakland, he really helped me out looking through my plans and giving me a lowdown on how to work with the city. David Odell from Odell's Complete Concrete, he actually provided a bit of advice on the driveway and the patio, and he's got a really great load of content out there on YouTube. Of course, Essential Craftsman, Matt Reisinger, and another one that I like is Joel Walsman of Jefferson Electric. So shout out to you guys for helping me bring this together and actually make it happen. So with that, I'm going to start with some of the content here, and I'm going to start with a walkthrough of the finished ADU so you can get a feel for how it turned out, what the eventual floor plan and look and feel looks like, the quality of the finishes. And so hopefully that'll give you useful context to understand the plans and the construction process as we get into those details. And then we're going to start right from the beginning, going through the plans to starting the construction. So just before we get into that, I wanted to go over a few quick things about this video series. First of all, there are going to be links in the video description below that link to each of the episodes of this series. There's about 20 episodes in total, about 6.5 hours of content that cover every single step of the process. It's kind of long, but you can skip ahead to the stuff that interests you, and you can come back when you're maybe in the middle of a project to try and understand certain parts of the process. So apologies for the length, but hopefully it gives you a new perspective and a lot of detail that maybe you don't get elsewhere. There's also going to be a link to our spreadsheet that goes through the costs in the description below. Secondly, I want to apologize for the production quality of this series. It was kind of stressful building this as an owner builder for the first time. It's the first sort of ground up project that I've done. And so getting the footage while everything was going on was a challenge. And then of course, dealing with all this footage at the end and editing it myself took a long time, which is why it's almost a year since the ADU was constructed. So apologies up front for that, but hopefully it's useful. And last of all, if you find this content helpful, do give the videos a like, give a subscribe to the channel. I hope to put out a few more videos about the ADU process that are maybe more targeted at specific questions you might have. Leave some comments below if you have questions about the process or there are things you'd like to go into more detail on. And with that, let's get into the walkthrough. Okay, so here's the ADU. This is the front of it. Got the big bifold door here. This is kind of the main entrance. We've got the number plate there. And this is the side of the ADU. So you can see nice big windows. These are 3.5 windows. We've got the French door here. Put some planter boxes in. And this is a corridor here, and the bedroom at the back here. We've got our mini split here, and our water line coming in. We've got the shed roof design with vaulted ceilings. So let me come back around to the front. And I'll give you a view from the top here. So you can see the roof design there. Let's go and have a look. So we've got this big bifold door here leading into the living room. We have our TV mounted on the wall. We've got our speakers and connections hidden away in the walls. Got our sofa here. So nice big open plan living space with the kitchen. Fully functional kitchen. We've got quartzite countertops. These are Taj Mahal, quartzite from Brazil. We have our cabinets. We've got an induction stove here, full size. We've got the microwave above the cooker here with the vent going out to the roof. We have a undermount sink with a garbage disposal and a Moen faucet. We have a full-size dishwasher here, and we have a full-size French door fridge, or side-by-side fridge with an ice maker. And so, just another view of the living room here from the other side. Of course, we've got 3 skylights up here, which let in a lot of natural light. This room has a lot of natural light thanks to all these windows. And this French door here that looks out right onto the garden. And just to show you the flooring here, this is a engineered hardwood flooring that's glued down onto the concrete slab. I'll go into a little bit more detail on that later on in the video series. But that flooring is throughout, apart from the bathroom. And so let's go down the hallway now. So going down the hallway, this leads to the bedroom. We've got our electrical panel here, all those different circuits. This is the bathroom. So as you can see, we did marble tiling on the walls and the floor. We've got a cast iron tub, toilet, and we've got full-size washer dryer tucked behind the pocket door here. And we also have our heat pump water heater. So that is providing the hot water there. And then we have this pocket door to save on a bit of space. And going into the bedroom here, a good full-size bedroom. This is a queen bed, but easily get a king bed in here if we wanted. We have a ceiling fan, and this also has a mini split head. We have 2 of these, one in here in the bedroom and one in the living room. And then the last thing to show you here is the closet. So we have a a decent sized closet here. It's got the vacuum cleaner, it's got a motion activated light. There we go. And so that's really it. I'll take you back through to the living room and just show you the bifold door in action. You can see all this natural light coming into the living room, which is really nice. This is a French door here. So that swings open both sides to let more air and light in, and then we have the bifold. So we can open this up. Okay. So there we have the bifold. I think it's 108 inches wide. So it's going to be great for the summer when we're entertaining or having a barbecue. And that is pretty much it. Just another quick view of the countertop here and some of the detail that they did. They did this waterfall edge. And that is the finished product.